And that's when suddenly he popped up in Instagram, and then I thought that he's so cute. And then I just texted him, hi. I never knew, I didn't expect him to reply me because I heard somewhere that white people, they don't usually text, They think others are scams and all. But he texted me back. And I was like, so happy.
Welcome to International Love Story, the podcast about intercultural relationships. My name is Christina, and in today's podcast episode, I'm going to welcome Pasang and Joshua. They are dating on distance at the moment. Pasang is living in India, Joshua is living in the US, and they have a time difference of 13 and a half hours. I also know that they are currently working on closing the distance, but that's all I know because, as always, I just love to surprise myself throughout the conversation, and I can't wait to hear the full story of how they met, who they are, what they're doing. So, with this being said, guys, go ahead, introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? Tell us all about you.
Hello, I'm Joshua Akins. I just turned 30. I'm a carpenter, and um, yeah, the song. I guess you can introduce yourself, and then
Okay. Hi, my name is Pasang Bhutia, and I'm from India, and I'm a teacher, and I have been teaching for 11 years now, and I am 28 years old. And we didn't meet in dating apps, but we met at Instagram. I mean, it was back then. I was just scrolling through Instagram, and then suddenly it's so weird that I found his people you may know on Instagram, and and it was me who texted him because I found him so cute. And since my childhood, I always liked white people. Being in India, being in India, like we love white people because we and I literally grew up watching Western shows. So I was always liked white people. So I just thought that maybe he'll text me, and that's when suddenly he popped up in Instagram, and then I thought that he's so cute. And then I just texted him, hi. I never knew, I didn't expect him to reply me because I heard somewhere that white people, they don't usually text, They think others are scams and all. But he texted me back. And I was like, so happy.
you know what's funny about that is, so I got the message from her on Instagram, and her name is Pasang. On Instagram is Pasang Choco Pie, and I thought it was a bot, because we get messages from like bot accounts and stuff all the time, or like random spammers. And at first, when I read the name and everything, I thought she was a bot. But I clicked on her name and I went to her profile. And then I was looking, like, scrolling through her profile, looking at her pictures. And I was like, okay, this looks like a real person. And she's really cute. And I liked her vibe, she's a very positive person, very happy, very cheerful. And her posts were really sweet. So after seeing that, I decided to message her back. We just started talking.
Pasang, your first question was just hi. Two
Yes.
letters, hi.
Hi. Yes, hi.
Yep, just hi. Yeah, and I just texted her back, hello. And then, it was just a simple conversation from there.
How did you react, Pasang, when you opened your Instagram and you saw, oh, this guy I think is very cute, actually texted me back?
Oh, yes. I was so happy, and I was telling my friends about it, like my colleague. See this guy, he's so cute, and he texted me back. And that's when we started talking. Hi, what are you doing? This and that. Then I thought that in India, more than Instagram, we prefer WhatsApp. So I just texted him, "Do you use WhatsApp in USA?" And then he said yes. And then I thought like, can you give me number? And then he gave me his number, and that's how when we started talking, like hi, hello, and he would show me things around, and I would get so fascinated, around these places and all, and I would be like so wow, wow, wow all the time.
How is it in your culture, Pasang? May I ask? Because I feel like you were very bold to just text Joshua via Instagram. Is it something you were thinking about twice, or you were just like seeing his profile pictures and you were like immediately sliding into his DMs and sending him this message?
Um, well, I found him cute and I texted him. Yes, I was like giving a try, hoping that something might, you know, happen. Something might happen. That's why I texted him.
Yeah, it's always worth shooting your shot, I guess.
And obviously it did. So I'm wondering,
Yes, I was just giving a shot.
and how did you move from there? So you just texted, you got to know each other, and then it involved to you starting dating eventually. So I'm curious, what's between the first hi
Oh,
and you sitting here right now sharing your love story?
oh no. Oh, we were not dating in the beginning. We were just talking, like it was like a crush. Like every time we texted each other, we would text all the time. We didn't talk in a call. We just texted, and and we would like text all the time. And then it was not like love in the beginning, but for me it was. I don't know what about Joshua's part, but every time he texted me, I would get so happy and so fascinated, and I would tell my colleagues who were near my, he texted me this. I would show them his messages, and they all would be like, wow, really? They would be so happy for me.
Yeah, it was like a crush for quite a while, you know? I was very fascinated with her too. Um, Obviously, she's not from here, she has an entirely different culture. I love, like, I love that she wears saris, like, traditional clothing and stuff like that. I always thought it was, super pretty, and, yeah, just, like, I was really fascinated with her and her culture. But like I said, yeah, at first it was just texting and talking here and there, and then actually I was going through a lot of stuff, in my life, so it was a big, like, transition period for me, uh, and we actually ended up, like, stop we didn't talk for quite a while, for quite some time. We stopped talking, and, I finally reached back out to her in 2023, and I guess from there, we just took it a little bit more seriously, you know? Started texting more, we started video calling a lot more, and, kinda just I don't know if I was, like, asked you to be my girlfriend, or if you asked me to be your boyfriend, or if it was just kind of like a mutual, like, "We're dating now." But it pretty much turned into that, and then, the closer that we got together and the more, like, in love we fell, I guess, I started becoming more serious, and I was like, "Man, I really wanna go out there and, like, meet her for real. Like, not just have an online relationship and not just talk, but actually take the step to fly across the country and meet her in person." Um, for me, it's like, not only is it an adventure for me to go and see her, but it's also kinda like a solidification of the seriousness, of the relationship. Um, it really validates the fact that I'm serious about being with her. So, in October last year, I I booked a flight in August, and then I flew October 3rd all the way to meet her in India.
We're talking you getting to know each other so you started texting in 2022, right?
Yes.
And then there was a little pause in between, because Yasha, you had to focus on other things
Right.
in your life at that moment, and then you
Yeah.
patched up, and then it basically involved quite fast, if I understand correctly, up to the point where you, Joshua, decided, okay, I'm going to get into the plane. I want to see her in person. That was only last year, so that's
Right.
not too long ago that you're finally able to see each other in person the first time. So obviously, I'm wondering, what was it exactly before we dive into you seeing each other in person the first time, but what was it exactly where you realized, okay, this is leading into a relationship? I actually love this person. Do you recall a specific moment, a specific feeling? You had a specific thought? When did it make click that you were like, that's my person. I wanna get serious now.
Uh, I I don't know. It's difficult to like pinpoint a certain time or a certain moment when that happened. I We literally would just be on call with each other every single day, like all day. You know, our time difference is crazy. So like I'm getting home from work and she's waking up to get ready for work. But even when she's sleeping or even when I'm sleeping, like we would just stay on the call with each other all night, all day. Just so many things about her, like, tell me that she's the one, that I just love about her. She's I mean, in today's, like, culture, like, especially in America, like, the dating culture is it's so bad, it's so crazy. Uh, it's it's really difficult for people to, like, find a really solid woman today, like, in our generation at least, because so many women are, like, they wanna be independent or, like, they wanna be a boss bee, like a boss girl and all of these things. And I think part of it is cultural difference, obviously. Like in their culture, they're much more family focused and respectful towards their partners and just the things that they want in life are more to us would be traditional things. So it's those aspects about her that I really fell in love with. She's very motherly. She cares so much. The fact that she always wants to be on call and always wants to talk, is something that I really admired about her, and I fell in love with her so much more. Yeah.
How is it for you, Pasang? If you recall a specific moment, specific feeling,
Um,
when you realize that's the one.
well, yeah, we had a pause, and back in 2023, he pinged me up. And before that, I just thought that, nah, I don't want to be in a relationship because I was hoping that, like somewhere it might take us somewhere back in 2022. But yeah, there was a pause, and then I thought, I don't want to be in a relationship. But when he texted me in the beginning, then I was so happy. We started talking. Things eventually turned out to be so different. We would like stay on the call 24 hours, and that is something so precious, just to stay on the call and feel the presence of a person. I already made up my mind that I want him. I want him because he was so sweet person, so naive and so kind hearted when he used to talk about his story. And in my past relationship, like I never got that commitment, those communication, only betrayal, this and that. I was going through a lot. But when I compare them, like him and them, he's like so different, so good, so generous than everybody else out there. So I had already look when I look at him, I already think, yeah, he's the one. I already made up my mind. He's the one.
Yeah, I understand that you guys, obviously, due to the fact that you're dating on distance, and that for a while you weren't able to see each other in person, you had to put some extra effort. And what I love and what I've learned as well is that, yeah, what you've just mentioned, Hassan, you've made your fair share of experiences with previous partners, and it didn't work out, even though you were seeing each other in person, and this person was close, at least distance-wise close. And now you're dating someone miles, kilometers away from your home country in a different country, even overseas. And you feel like I'm building a relationship with this person, even though if this person is literally not next to me. But we are putting a lot of effort into the relationship on both ends to make it work. And it just feels so precious, even though sometimes, out of my experience at least, you're just like, damn, it's just time difference and the distance in general can be hard, not going to lie, but you feel like if you get back what you invest, it's just so worth it. And you're also curious to learn where this is going to lead and what's going to be next. If this is already what you're capable of, like just imagine how it's going to be when we are together in person. And talking about this topic, obviously, I am so curious to learn more about the moment you finally saw each other in person. So let's go back to last year when Joshua took a leap of faith and just got into the airplane, flying all the way to India and seeing Pasang for the first time. How was it for you, Joshua?
Man, it was incredible seeing her for the first time. I will say I had a not so great travel experience. So, at first it was good. I stopped in London from, um I left from Portland, Oregon, landed in London for a stop, and then I had to stop in Delhi, and then from Delhi, I would take a smaller plane to Bagdogra Airport in Siliguri. But, in Delhi, the airline that I was taking to Bagdogra, their system shut down completely. So I couldn't I couldn't get my boarding tickets, I couldn't get on my flight. I ended up having to stay the night. I, like, slept on the floor in the airport overnight and, was able to get on the next flight the next day, but, I mean, the traveling already was taking, like, 2.5 days to get there, and then I had to spend, like, an extra night in the airport. I was just so s I wanted to see her so bad. I was so disappointed when my flight got canceled, and she had rented a hotel for that first night, and it was, like, one of the nicest ones, and I ended up not being there because I had to stay the night in, um, Delhi, but despite all that, I finally made it to Siliguri, and man, I was so nervous. My hair was greasy, I was dirty, I hadn't showered for a couple of days, I was, like, feeling embarrassed about how I looked and stuff. Uh, but I come stepping out of this little airport, I'm like, "Okay, this is it," my heart's pounding, super excited, I can't wait to see her, and I walk out, and there she is in this beautiful red dress with little flowers all over it. She's holding flowers, and, I go out there, and the first thing she does is she just jumps on me. Like, she just ran and she jumped on me, like, legs up around me and everything. Um, just a big embrace. It was so surreal. Um, Very crazy feeling meeting somebody for the first time. After you're, like, so close to somebody online, long distance, and you've never met, that feeling of finally seeing them in person, feeling them physically, man, it is yeah, like I said, it's surreal. It's something you can't it's hard to explain, but it was amazing. So good to see her.
Very difficult to explain it to someone who has not experienced
Right.
something similar.
Yeah.
Because I know how it feels like, and I especially know the sweaty palm of your hands, and you just like
Yeah.
your head is just all over the place and you can't stop smiling, and you're just like, okay, people might think that I look like a crazy one right now because you're just like smiling from one side of the ear to the other, and the head is just like in Spanish there's an expression enamorada, cabeza enamorada, so head in love basically. And that's the only thing you can think about, like finally seeing your person again. I mean, in our case, when we dated on distance, we saw each other during a time span of 1.5 years, 5 times in total. But every
Wow.
time there were those butterflies and the whole excitement and the feeling that's so
Yeah.
difficult to explain. And there is no doubt at all. So once you're at the airport and once you are finally hugging each other, that's just like one of the best feelings. And also, even though we're not dating on distance anymore and uh, we closed the distance actually 8 years ago, it's just thinking about it just brings back all the emotions, and I can't tell you exactly how I felt in that very moment because it is so unique
Right.
and it is so
Right.
special that it's just such a warm, amazing feeling that brings back a smile on your face every time you just think about it, and it's so wonderful. Obviously, I'm also wondering, Pasang, how was it for you? I mean, you spent the night alone in this nice hotel. He unfortunately delayed, but then you finally made it to the airport and you finally saw each other. It seems like you were quite happy. I mean, it sounds like at least. But how was the whole process between, like, okay, from the hotel to the moment you picked him up? What was going through your head?
I was so excited. I was so nervous, like all those emotions all coming all together, you know? And then I was waiting at the airport for him and holding flowers. And every time I just kept looking at that boarding pass, you know, when is the plane gonna land? When is the plane gonna land? I would be so restless. And I brought my two friends, and she would like, Pasang, come on, stop stressing so much. And then I would be like looking here and looking there. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I was so nervous. And then suddenly I came to know that the plane landed. And as soon as I heard that the plane landed, my heart, you know, it pounded so fast. I was like, I was about to meet a person for the first time. And like someone who I've been talking to for so long, I'm gonna see him. And how it's gonna be, you know, the feelings and all. And then suddenly he comes and he's so tall and I'm so short. The first thing, he's so tall. And then he's coming, and then I'm like, I don't know how to express it. I'm just feeling so excited. And then I had no intention of jumping. I don't know why I jumped. I don't know. He just came and I was like, and then I just jumped. And then it was like I was on his arm. And then, you know, I didn't care who was around me. It was like all the time stop. And then, you know, I was like trembling. I was like shaking. My hands were shaking so much. I was like, babe, look at me. I'm shaking. I'm trembling so much. Are you for real? And then we I don't know, this feeling, you know, it was so amazing to see him. I didn't mind like you having greasy hair and all. I didn't see that. All I saw was a so handsome guy right in front of me.
The whole height thing was really funny. I'm like 5'11", 6 foot on a good day, you know, I gotta put that out there. But, Pasang is like 4, el 4'11", basically 5 foot. So there's almost a whole foot difference, and, like, I think that's probably a big thing with, you know, long distance relationship couples. You don't really know how big, how small they are in person, and that was just something that she was really insecure about the whole time. She's like, "I don't know if you're gonna like me because I'm so short," and all these things, so, uh, no, when I saw her, she's a perfect height. I mean, obviously, the height doesn't really matter when you're in a relationship like that, but, yeah, that was just really funny. I was like, "No, you're not too short. You're not too short. It's okay."
I actually just checked out 1 foot in centimeters. So for everyone who's listening or watching, those are like round about, yeah, 30.5 centimeters of height difference you guys have.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so that was your first impression, basically, her running towards you, jumping onto you, and you were just holding her tight.
Yeah, just little
And
ball of
then you
energy.
guys, little ball of energy, very excited ball of energy as far as
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hear. Trembling, shaking. she introduced you to her friends.
Yeah, of course.
So she had two friends with her. And then what happened afterwards? How did you spend the next few days?
The first thing, we hopped on a Toto, headed to our next hotel. So we basically just stayed in hotels the whole time. Went from here and there. But yeah, the first couple days, what did we do for the first couple days?
We just loitered here and there, you know. Then after
Yeah,
2 days,
that's
we
kind
went to
of
Darjeeling. We went to Darjeeling after that. We were just traveling basically, you know, local markets, local malls, and then, well, we for us, it was not about like going here and there. For us, it was like spending time together. Even if we were like locked up in a room for 15 days, it didn't matter because we wanted to spend time together. So we did
Right.
not go here and there much. After 2 days, we went to Darjeeling. It's on the Himalayas, you know. From there, Darjeeling, we can see the world's tallest mountain, Mount Everest. Like from there, we can see. And we went to Darjeeling on top of the Himalayas. We went there and we spent a good time there. When we went to Darjeeling, every time I would walk with him, there would be so many people who just wants to click pictures with him, you know?
Yeah, so Darjeeling, I'll say this, Darjeeling was like one of my favorite spots that we went to while I was traveling there with her. Darjeeling, man, it's so beautiful. If if anybody listening ever is going to Northeast India, definitely you have to go to Darjeeling. You have to check it out. It's a beautiful, wonderful place. But yeah, it's so we were traveling by car up there and we stopped. The first thing I remember was we stopped somewhere and we stopped somewhere to go to the bathroom, but you could also get food. And these local people were making some tukpa, which is like a soup, basically like a noodle soup with flavor and oh, I I still think about that soup to this day. It was so amazing. Um, but the rest of the traveling was really pretty. But as she was saying, like people wanted to take pictures with me, so we walked to the Darjeeling Zoo, which was really really awesome. They have red pandas there. I love red pandas. Actually, I don't know if you can see it super well, but I got this tattoo while I was in India, and it has a red panda and some other characters from Studio Ghibli. It's an anime I like to watch. Um, but yeah, we were walking around the zoo and people would just come up and be like, "Can we take a picture with you?" And so I felt like I was an attraction at the zoo. It was a good time. It was good memories there. Yeah.
it was also cultural-wise, as I understand, a little bit different to what you're used to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cultural, complete opposite. So out of high school, I moved myself to Florida for a couple of years and I worked with an action sports ministry called Rag Nature. And I'm a Christian, so that's my religious background. Is like I gave my life to Christ when I was 18. And so after that, I was just like super on fire for the Lord. And I've skateboarded my whole life. I skated and surfed. So I joined this missionary chapter out there. It's called Rad Nature. And I traveled for a couple of years. So for like 2 years, I went to a couple different countries, so I got to travel to Peru and Costa Rica. I went to Havana, Cuba, and then I went to Barcelona. And so part of me, I love traveling. I love experiencing different cultures. And like India is a place that I never thought that I would go. To be honest and to be fair, it was, like, on the bottom of my list of places that I wanted to go. And then I end up meeting Pasang and building this amazing relationship with her, and then India went from the bottom of my list to the very top of my list. Um, but the culture there it's different from anything that I've experienced before, so it was definitely a big shock.
Mm. Why is India on top of your list now? So what changed for you?
Oh, obviously, Pasang, so like, yeah, I don't think I would ever have gone to India if it wasn't for Pasang. Like I said, it was at the bottom of my list, but after building that relationship with her, getting so close to her, um, India ended up just being like the place that I wanted to go the most because I wanted to see her and I wanted to meet her and be with her. So, and I I'm so glad that I did go to India and experience the culture and experience everything out there because it's really, really amazing. The culture is awesome. I mean, in America, India gets so much hate. Like on Instagram and social media and stuff, like all you see is like this nasty street food and like, oh, India's so dirty and all this stuff. But that's not the reality. Like the reality is that India's obviously every country has their bad places and their good places, but India is really, really beautiful, and the people out there are really, really nice, um, from what I experienced, so don't believe everything you see on social media. Stop listening to that stuff on Instagram.
But wouldn't you say, sorry for interrupting, but wouldn't you say that those are stereotypes we kind of grew up with, and obviously depending on the media we are consuming,
Yeah,
it's
100%.
just impacting us until we make this experience ourselves. I mean, for example, Argentina is supposed to be a third world country.
Right,
But I'm living here and I can tell you it's definitely not. You know, hey, there are provinces that are not very well developed, for example,
yeah,
but it's definitely not a third world country, for example. And it's a beautiful country as well that I've never had on my list. And now I'm just like a big fan of Argentina. And I'm telling my friends, my family, everyone to come and pay a visit. And actually, this year, two of my friends were able to visit and they're going to come back
oh, awesome.
very soon because they fell in love with Argentina as well.
Wow,
And it's just like, obviously you hear things, you're just in your own bubble sometimes. And also, depending on the political situation, to be honest, there's just like a lot of other opinions impacting you, other perspectives that are not yours, obviously, because you've not made this experience yet,
right,
impacting you, that you just have a specific picture in your mind of how things are supposed to be over there. And once you travel, in your case, to India, you realize, okay, this is not at all what I've expected or what I've told or what I saw on social media. And you're just like mind blown that it's just so different to anything else you had in mind. And I think that's just a very nice surprise. And that just shows us that stereotyping, yes, some things might be true. Like, for example, talking
yeah,
about the Latin American culture, like everyone is late. And me as a German, I am on point. That's true. But there's just so many stereotypes that are not true at all. And that being one of those, as far as I understand.
yeah.
So, talking about stereotypes, Pasang, because in the beginning, when you shared with us the first impression you had of Joshua, I understand that there were like some stereotypes involved as well, because he is a white man and you were quite attracted to him. Um, but what was your impression about the US, about his culture before you actually met him? And you look beautiful, by the way. Love your
Thank
dress.
you.
Yeah, she
Very
got all
pretty.
dressed up. I'm house sitting for my brother right now, watching his dog and cat, so I don't have any of, like, my nice clothes with me. I just had all this casual.
Yeah, they both look nice. But it just
Thank you.
obviously I noticed Pasang's
Yeah,
beautiful dress, because it's very, very different to anything I saw
mm.
Thank
before.
you.
Very nice. So where were we? So I was just asking you, Pasang, basically the thoughts, the what you thought about the US before you actually met Joshua. So any stereotypes or what was your impression before meeting someone who's actually from the US, of the US?
Divorce? Like you, like I just feel that, like in USA, like there's so much high rate of divorce. And in my like in my culture in India, like I don't see people getting divorced. So that is the main thing. They get divorced so much. And the second thing is that they don't live with their parents. Like they have to make an appointment to meet their own parents. You know, That's awesome. And I thought it's so like different and weird.
But are those stereotypes actually true? So were they confirmed after all? Or what is your perspective on it
Ah,
now?
I'll say as an American, I would say those stereotypes are true. I think the rate is 50 50% of marriages end in divorce. And it's true, parents in the US, for the most part, they want their kids out of their house when they turn 18, you know? It's like, "Okay, you're an adult now, go live on your own, give us our freedom." And then, after that, it's like you gotta call, "Hey, can I come over and see you? Uh, let's get together on this day or this holiday." Or it's like you don't see each other until the holidays. And I know that I've learned that in Pasang's culture, like the whole family basically lives together, you know? The kids stay with the parents and take care of the parents, and the parents are taking care of the kids, and it's a very communal relationship that way, which I think is really cool. And
Mm.
I for now, it's like, I understand, like, there's nothing wrong with living with your parents, like, I think that's actually a really cool thing that you guys all get to support each other, but it's like here, if a girl, you're trying to date and a girl hears that, "Oh, you're living with your parents," then you're a loser, you know? Like, "Oh, you don't have your own place, you're living with your parents," like, it's very looked down upon, here in the US, living with your parents after you're 18, so that's such a huge difference, and was so crazy to me when I learned about that.
So when my friends used to ask me that, oh, so where does like my family is also like, so whom does Joshua lives with? That time he used to live alone. I used to say that, yeah, he lives alone. What? He lives alone? Not just a parent? I said no, he lives alone. Oh, that's so weird that he lives alone like that. Here it's so weird that it's a very good thing here that if you're staying with your parents, you know.
So if you support each other as a family, obviously on
Yeah.
different generations living together and yeah, supporting each other in daily life. That's actually what Josh just shared. It's like very similar to the German culture as well, where it's looked down onto if you're still living with your parents when you're 20. So that's just weird, unless you're studying and you have expenses. Otherwise, you would be able to cover when not living with your family. But usually, you would also move out more or less as soon as possible. But I think what I've learned as well, very similar to your story, that the fact of like living together with your family, living in one household has a lot of benefits as well. And it's quite cool to learn from the older generation as well. And also when it comes to building a family, it just has a lot of benefits. But obviously, if you were raised a specific way, it's just hard to break not the ice, but to break the stereotype in your head because for you it's just so normal because this is how everyone is doing that in your country. And then you're coming to another country and you see, oh, there are actually different approaches as well, and they also work. So there has to be something in the middle. And this is also when, at least out of my experience, you start breaking stereotypes, breaking your own beliefs, and you start seeing that there's just so much more than what you thought is the truth. So that there are different truths. And again, like meeting in the middle is the ideal, like creating your own balance. So I'm also wondering, obviously, during your stay in India, Joshua, were you able to meet Pasang's family? And if so, how was meeting her family?
Unfortunately, I did not get to meet her whole family. Um, I'm not sure exactly what happened there with that whole thing, but I didn't get to meet her mom. Um, but I did get to meet her brother. So, and that was really important. Like, that was a really big deal because her older brother is basically like a second guardian, and he's very like they're very important to each other. So meeting him was a really big deal, and it was really good. It was really good. We had a good time and a good conversation. So he brought his one of his friends, and he met with me and Pasang and took us out. He I forget the name of the restaurant, but it's like a really, really nice, like fancy restaurant um in Siliguri. So he took us out and he bought us a really nice dinner. You know, it was a really cool experience. It was crazy during it, like in the restaurant, like you can sit down at the table and you can like smoke hookah, which was pretty crazy for me to see. But we did do that, which was cool. It was cool. But yeah, I like her brother. I like her family. I've gotten to say hi and like meet her family through the phone, and so like they know that I exist, and like I've said hi to them and stuff, but I didn't get to meet them in person, which was a little bit disappointing, but it's okay. At least I got to meet her brother. It was very good. We had a good conversation. I got to tell him that like, look, I'm not just some American guy who's trying to use your sister. Like, I'm actually serious about her, and um, I would really like to be with her. And I think I got his approval, so that's pretty cool.
Um, so the reason why I didn't like introduce to my mother was because, okay, to be honest, most of my families in the beginning were not happy with our relationship because he was a white guy and I'm an Indian, and here in India, like we usually people give first preference to arranged marriage, you know. Like so my I'm 28, and then as soon as I turned 25, people started asking questions about like when are you gonna get married? They'll be like bringing so many photos of guys, like choose guys. You know, oh, he has a government job, he's in army, like choose guys. And yeah, I got that offer before, but I never took interest. Like I didn't want to get married, arranged marriage, you know. And because I believe in love marriages, and here, why I did not introduce him to my mother was because a girl and a boy, they are not supposed to stay in a hotel before marriages. And here in India, even if a guy and a girl hold hands, they're like, oh my God, look, they're holding hands. Forget about the kissing part. It's so weird to hold hands also, you know? Like it's very uncommon here. And like that's how we all grew up. And the thing is that you're not supposed to stay in a hotel, a girl and a boy before marriages. It's not good, you know. So they all knew that Joshua will be coming, and but I told them that I'm gonna stay with my friends. Like we all want to stay together, you know. And then they were okay with that. But of course, I lied to them about it. And then, and but my brother knew about it because he was pretty cool. Because he's a brother, I never lied to him about anything. And um, the thing I didn't want it to hurt my mother because every time my mother thinks about Joshua, she feels that he's taking away me away from him. You know, like especially about like going to the US. Like I'll be going soon, and she gets so sad. Like she, you know that I'll be leaving her. And before also she told me that why don't you get married to guys here? Why you have to go so far? Why you are dating so far guys from so far away? Even my relatives told me the same thing. Don't go so far away. Don't leave us like that. But it's my choice, my decision. You know, my priorities that I choose in.
When did you make the decision of moving to the US?
It was very hard for me. I was like I had this doubt about I'll go like if I move to the US, it means like leaving everything behind, you know, like a job, my families, the kids out here, everything, my mom, everything, leaving behind everything just for one person. So I don't know. Then I was so thoughtful about this, but then I realized that Joshua is such a person that yes, I can rely on him, my future, you know, like he makes me feel secure, like my future, that I can rely on him, you know, and that is gonna take good care of me emotionally, everything, spiritually. And yes, he has reassurance me so many times that Pasang, don't worry. And yeah, it's not that I'm gonna leave like India forever, of course I can come and visit them. That's what he, always tells me. You're not gonna leave your family behind. Of course, you're gonna stay connected. So he has always made me feel so safe about all this part, and it made me so easy to take that decision. Yes, yes, I can move with him.
So you were sharing in the beginning, before I started recording, that you recently applied for the K1 visa. Do I understand correctly, Pasang, that you weren't able to visit the US yet?
Yes.
And may I ask, how does it make you feel if you think about, because I know exactly how it feels like. I mean, in my case, I also moved to the US and I've been to the US only once before. I moved to Miami. I did not like Miami, but my favorite person was in Miami, so I just moved as well. Um, so I'm wondering, because in your case, it's just adding a different layer due to the fact that you weren't able to visit the US in person yet. So I'm wondering, what is it you prepare yourself for such a big step? As I understand, you are quite open-minded. You have open conversations about your next steps in your relationship, about what's going to be next in your lives in general. But I'm just trying to understand, going from living in India close to your family being sad that you're eventually going to leave in order to live with your boyfriend, and soon to be husband, as I understand as well. What happens in between for you to have the confidence to say, like, okay, I'm going to make this step? What type of conversations did you have for you to know for sure that this is the right step? What type of questions would you discuss, for example, about your future? So as you see, I have like a lot of questions because I'm trying to understand, um, what makes you so sure that you are going to take the step now to live in a country you've not been able to visit beforehand.
Well, I don't know about the country and all, but I know Joshua because when I see him, he's a very responsible man, who pays his bills on time. He's very responsible about everything, and that makes me like realize that he's someone that I can trust. And plus, when my brother met him, because my brother is very much good about observing people, and my brother also told me the same thing. He's a very good guy, and like he talks about, like he sees future in me. He's not just a guy. When I see him, he's not just a guy who wants to, like, like leave for a moment and all. He thinks of the future, spending our future together. So that's when I realized that, yeah, he's the one, because we talk about our futures, and he has made me feel so secure about everything, that like when we talk about we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And as I'm a teacher, and we have also talked about that, we will try in a school, we'll work together, we'll do job together, and we will travel here and there. So this time when we talk about future, it makes us more feel secure that yes, he's the one, that we're gonna have cats, we're gonna live here, we're gonna have a nice apartment. So that's when when he starts talking about the future, that's more I start believing that he's the one, and I can really
Mm.
trust him about everything.
I mean, trust is obviously the foundation of your relationship as well, due to the fact that you're dating on the long distance, due to the fact that there are like 13.5 hours between you. You're separated by, yeah, miles, kilometers, as mentioned. Um, so I totally get where you're coming from, Pasang, but obviously also Joshua. So I'm also wondering, Joshua, how is it for you? How you think about everything that happened over the past few months? The first message from Pasang via Instagram texting you hi, to now her soon, as as soon as the visa is approved, moving to your country, your home country, a country she has not seen before. So she kind of knows the culture because of you, because I'm sure you're quite open-minded as well when it comes to
Yeah.
that, answering any questions she has. But how does it make you feel? Because as I understand it, it's a responsibility as well, receiving someone that you love from so far away with all the expectation that someone has, with coming, like basically just packing her things, her suitcase, moving to a country she has not seen before.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility, big time. When I think about it, I realize that, like, this person, her life is in my hands, basically, you know? I Her family is no longer there for her, her family is no longer responsible for her. I'm responsible for her now. And not only do I wanna keep her safe for her sake and my sake, but also for the sake of her family as well. So that's a big responsibility, and when I think about it, it's a little bit scary, it can be a little bit tough, but I think it's worth it, and the nice thing is that especially obviously, I would never want her to leave me. Like, I hate doing long distance, and I really wanna be together, but with the K-1 visa, like, you have 90 days, after she arrives for us to solidify things and for her to stay here. That's another thing is like I've always talked to her about it and I've reassured her that like you when you come here, I know you've never been here before, so it's gonna be a big shock for you. The culture's completely different. If you decided like if that you didn't want to live here or be here, you always have the option to go back home. I'm not gonna try and force her to stay here if she doesn't wanna be here. I'm not gonna kidnap her, trap her in my basement or something. Uh, but yeah, so I think that's another thing is like reassuring her that she always has the option to go back home. Um, Even though it's not ideal, it's there, and I think that will be helpful. But another thing is, like, I don't know, she's always been really into Western culture growing up, She had a crush on Harry Potter. She always, she listens to Western music and watched Western shows and has always been kind of fascinated with the culture here, so I think it'll be really exciting for her, and I just have to make sure that I do a good job of, I guess, showing her the good side of the US, because it can be very scary, especially like I said, for Americans, we only see one side of India for the most part, and so people, they get scared or they don't wanna go there, and I'm sure it's the same for them as they see one side of America and might not wanna come here, might have their fears. I'll just make sure that she sees the good side of the USA and, that she experiences what I've experienced, and I'll do my best to take care of her. I don't know, but yeah, it
Talking about making sure that she feels comfortable taking care of her. Ideally, the K1 visa gets approved as soon as possible. The next step, as I understand, would be for Pasang to fly over to the US. You make it official within those 90 days, and then she is allowed to stay. Obviously, out of my experience and also the experiences of so many couples who have been in a similar situation like yours, I actually had two couples on my podcast already that did not even meet each other in person, and then they moved together, and one person would move to the home country of the other one, and it worked out. It's just tough, especially if you have a set of expectations, especially if, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, as again, I've experienced that myself as well as other couples I've talked to. You will have some heavy conversations, especially when it comes to, okay, what's next? How is the career path going to look like? Like how am I going to, or how are we going to support each other financially as well? And the balance between the US and India, and homesickness that might be right around the corner eventually. There's this honeymoon phase you have in the beginning. So there's just like a lot of topics to take into
Yeah, so
consideration,
many.
a lot of emotions, and it's amazing. And again, I've been there, and most of the couples I've talked to, they've been there as well. Especially the moment you realize, okay, we've made it, we've come so far, and we've established ourselves. And against all doubts, even though if my family, for example, in your case, Pasang, weren't the biggest supporters because obviously they are scared. They want to protect you, Pasang. They want you to be close. They want you to be protected and to feel safe. So there are like a lot of thoughts taking into consideration, if that makes sense, a lot of feelings that has to be taken into consideration. So I'm just wondering with all of this, and again, I hope it really makes sense what I'm trying to transmit right now. I'm wondering if you could look into the future, if you could share your thoughts, your feelings right now, your next steps right now. How would your future look like? So, what's next for you guys?
Work. It's because I love to work, and I have been working all the time. So I love to work, and like that, we both can support each other. If in case if he, if what about like if Joshua like if his health gets down, or in case if he has some problems at his job, or he loses his job, even it's my part, even it's my job to take care of him. It's just I just don't believe in that it's just the man part to take care of woman and everything. It's equal part. Like we support each other. So what when he and I talk about future, I want to work. I want to work to support each other and to build a good life, because everybody wants a good life, so we want that. And so I want to work out there. We want to try. We have talked that we want to try at a school. We'll just give a try, a shot at a school, and then we'll work together. And then yeah, that's it.
Washington
Yeah.
State. So that's the location you have in mind for the future as well.
Yeah, for now, it's, Washington State, yeah.
Will come slowly to an end. First of all, thank you so much for opening up, for sharing your story, and for like, yeah, giving us some insights in how it actually is to date on distance with such a crazy time difference. I've also learned that I'm not sure if this is clear enough in this podcast recording right now, but as far as I understand, talking about the time difference, Pasang and Joshua, you make it work as well. Um, due to the fact that one of the facts, sorry, that Pasang is crazy enough to wake up in the middle of the night to have a conversation. I mean, we started this recording at 6 a.m. and she offered me, it's fine. I can get up at 2 a.m. as well if that
Yeah.
works better for you. So it really seems like because of this, you dating on distance, she or you both are quite flexible when it comes to your time schedule, which I love. And to come to an end, I'm wondering if you could share, each of you, one advice to everyone who's listening or watching right now. Advice would you give this person that's maybe dating in a similar setting as you're dating?
One piece of advice, and I know it may sound simple or repetitive, but it's the time for your partner. A lot of long distance couples, you're both working, there's a time difference and all. Even while you're at work, if you can have your partner on the phone, you don't have to be talking, you don't have to be having a conversation or an over the phone date or something, but just having them on the phone, on the call, and having their presence there with you and your presence with them, it really, really makes a big difference. Have you don't have that intimacy with each other by being close. you're so far away. So it's like every minute, every second that you can have to feel that person's presence in your life makes a big difference. So he, I'm a carpenter, and a lot of the times I work alone, so I have her on the phone with me all day during work, sleeping or not, whether we're talking or not, she's there, and I'm here for her. So, yeah, I know it can be hard, but if you can do it and you can make the time, and you can make it happen, I would say that would be that would be very helpful for sure.
I also feel the same, you know? It's all about your priority. And so, like, if you are in a relationship, it is very important, especially in a long distance relationship, it is very important to create a trust in long distance relationship. And that's what I feel. Just stay connected, even if you don't have to stay on the call. And like I'm saying, even if you don't have to talk, stay on the call. Just stay on the call, you know? And make each other like grow that bonding, grow that trust. And that's how you that's how your insecure kills to stay connected. I also feel the same way.
Again, so much for sharing your love story today. For everyone who would like to learn more about you, who has the one or the other follow-up question, because they are in a similar situation, what is the best way to reach you?
You can reach me. I'm usually on Instagram and Facebook, but um you can look up Joshua Akins. That's Akans is my last name. And I'm sure that you'll find me because there's not very many of us. Um, or you can type in my handle name, which is Joshu. It's JAW underscore SHU. So that'll be on Instagram. And then Joshua Akins on Facebook. Hit me up anytime. If you got any questions, I'm happy to talk.
And my name in Instagram and in Facebook and in YouTube is the same. It's Pasang Chocopie. Pasang and Chocopie. So yeah, if you have any questions or anything you want to ask about relationship or anything, you can also message me. I'm always happy to help.
So much again. Obviously, as always, I'm going to link everything in the description as well as in the side notes of YouTube episode and the podcast episode. And with this being said, have a lovely, in your case, Joshua, evening, and have a lovely Sunday, Pasang. I hope you're having a great start into your day. And thanks so much for being my guest today. Thank you so much for listening and or for watching to today's podcast episode. If you like what I'm doing, don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube and also to rate this podcast with 5 stars wherever you're listening to it. As always, you will find the contact details of my guests today in the side note as well as in the description. What you'll find there as well is a link to join my free WhatsApp group. A while ago, actually a little bit more than 1 year ago, I founded a WhatsApp group for women who are dating interculturally, and we're counting 80 members already. So if you want to be part of it, don't miss out. Again, it's free. You will find the link below. We are getting together at least once a month, having our community call, but also supporting each other in all questions that can arise while dating someone from a different country. With this being said, have a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are right now. And please, please take care. Bye.